Questions are being raised about a case argued today before the Ohio Supreme Court, not just about the subject matter, but who heard the case. State versus Glover is an examination of long-term criminal sentences and whether appellate courts should have the power to modify them if they appear to be unreasonable. Justice Joe Deters was one of the 7 justices hearing that case today, but 2 years ago, he was one of the attorneys arguing the same case.
It's alarm bells about the overall sense of the rule of law in the state of Ohio.
Law professor David Pepper says the law and rules in Ohio are clear. This is the rule from the Judicial Code of Conduct. A judge must recuse themselves if they served as a lawyer in the same matter or was even associated with a lawyer on the case that's currently before the court. 2 years ago, then Hamilton County Prosecutor Joe Deters represented the state in appellate court in the case focused on sentencing. The state lost. Wednesday morning, Deters' former co-counsel argued the same case to the Supreme Court, where Deters now serves as a justice.
I think almost any Ohioan would hear those situations and think, you can't do that. But they're doing it in the wide open.
Pepper has also criticized Justice Pat DeWine for ruling in favor of his father, Governor DeWine, in cases before the Supreme Court. Justice DeWine said at the time that there was no basis for recusal. Pepper disagrees.
Pat DeWine upheld his dad's gerrymandered maps. He did not recuse. We have a state where the rule of law is in question, where we had a state house ignore the rulings of the Supreme Court for months at a time. So this is, to me, not an isolated incident.
You are a law school professor. You are also the former chairman of the Democratic Party. People might say this is politics. Is it politics?
No, I'm a lawyer. This is unethical. This violates the ethical rules. No Democrat should do it. No Republican should do it. This is so clear cut. This is not politics.
But Justice Deters said in a statement that his first year on the bench, he did recuse himself from any case from Hamilton County, where he served as prosecutor. Now he recuses from cases in which he participated personally and substantially. And even though he is listed as lead counsel in Glover, he says this case isn't one of them.
We have a justice who was watching an argument being made by someone he was co-counsel with only 2 years ago. And everyone knew it, including him. I mean, it's a bizarre situation.
It should be pointed out no one asked Justice Deters to recuse himself. The director of the Board of Professional Conduct, Rick Dove, tells me judges make recusal decisions for themselves.